Good morning from Southern California, everyone. Cloudy Southern California. We got a bit of rain yesterday, and we're supposed to get rain over the next couple of days, on and off. But everybody loves rain down here. Came in with a gust and turned into a little bit of a downpour for just a moment. But then it was mostly just a trickle the rest of the day. But hey, it's nice to see the rain. We could use it, as they always say. At any rate, I'm going to make this one a quick one today, just simply because I got to preserve my voice. I got to work later on tonight. I also want to make some videos, or at least a video for my football league. So let's just get into it. We've got some hot performances. We'll talk about those. We'll talk about the hot rookies from last night and the hot free agents in this 18-team fantasy basketball league where rosters are 15 deep. So you got to, take that for what it is. If you're coming to this channel, you stumbled onto this channel, this is focused on our league in particular, the NBA Retro League on Fantrax, and we have 18 teams in the league and 15-man rosters. Right now I'm trying to talk the guys into maybe going salary cap next year, maybe doing an auction draft, maybe converting auction values of like known auction values of players to our league so that we could keep the guys we've already drafted perhaps, but that's for another discussion, another video. I'm just going to do what I said and get into the action. And last night, the hottest player in the NBA was Domantas Sabonis, and he was rivaled very closely by LeBron James. And another big performer from last night was Damian Lillard, especially on a per-minute basis. Now, you are going to hear me mention 48-minute stats quite a bit on this channel, and the reason being is that this league will be going to that kind of a format next year where we're going to be limited to 96 minutes at the forward position, 96 minutes at the guard position, and 48 minutes at the center position. So let's say you've got a guy who averages 15 minutes a game, or he for a game period, he has 15 minutes, and you have him listed as your top guard, let's say. He will enter the box score first. His 15 minutes worth of stats will go in to the box score, and there will be, 96 minus 15, which is 81, I think. And then you just keep on going down the list until you've filled up all the minutes, until you have all 96 filled. Pretty simple deal. What this does is it puts an emphasis on efficiency and production per minute and not just gross stats. And I think that's important because gross stats, it's just not realistic because there's not more than 96 minutes available at the positions I just mentioned, like forward and guard. There's not more than 48 minutes available at center. And I think an entire NBA game is 144 minutes, if I'm not mistaken, if you take all the positions and add them together. I want to get around the gross stats. I want this to be more realistic in the results. At any rate, I was talking about Damian Lillard. I was talking about LeBron James and Domantas Sabonis, all solid performers on the 48-minute basis last night, and gross stats for that matter. Domantas playing 39 minutes roughly and scoring 52 points per 48 minutes. And as per usual, he's a great shooter. He's shooting 60% on the season, 19 field goal attempts, 29 points. He had 16 rebounds and 7 assists, 3 steals, 1 block, and 4 turnovers. Very Joel Embiid-esque, those numbers from Domantas. And this is a guy I've always liked. I was shocked that Domantas went as low in the draft as he did. When he was drafted back in 2016, he was the 11th pick. And I think the Portland Trailblazers had a chance to draft him, and they should have. I just was in shock that they wouldn't take him. They had his dad on the team, and it's like, man, what a perfect fit. I think, yeah, he was even born in Portland when Arvydas was playing there. And I'm going to say it right here. I'm sorry, I'm going to talk some trash because I'm a Blazer fan, but seriously, if Arvydas would have come over from Russia sooner and played for the Blazers when he was younger, I think that they might have hung some championship banners from the rafters there at the Moda Center now, or whatever they're calling it. But seriously, if Arvydas would have come sooner, that team would have been a champion, and they should have been a champion in 2000. They choked like they always do against the Lakers in game 6. Is game 7 actually in the Western Conference Finals. That was a heartbreak. And I'm telling you, I lived it. I was in Portland at the time, and that city, it was like, it's dark enough there as it is, but this is like when the weather was nice. Like this is, in June, and the weather's starting to turn in Portland. And there was like this just dark cloud over the city the whole week after they lost that series to the Lakers. They'd had such a great season. They were up on the Lakers by like 17 points in the fourth quarter. And the way they just missed shot after shot after shot for no good reason. It wasn't even great defense by the Lakers. It was just the Blazers doing their thing, just choking because of the pressure, because how much people want them to win. But I am digressing here. Let's keep on going with the stats. At any rate, Sabonis, one of my favorite players, great game last night. He plays for an available team in this league, the Sacramento Kings. So any of you guys who've stumbled onto the channel, you want a team in this league, take on the Kings, man. Build this organization and join us. This is going to be a great league. LeBron James, I talked about, he came in second in gross stats, 58 points per 48, though. Very strong numbers. LeBron, of course, always a great shooter. 15 attempts, 28 points. Comes in with 11 assists. He had 10 rebounds. Very complete game by LeBron's. 4 steals, 1 block, 6 turnovers, but he handles the ball quite a bit. And he plays for Phil Johnson's Lakers in this league. Randy Englehorn, that's my brother. He owns the Poway Eagles. He runs the Eagles. Damian Lillard is one of his stars, and Lillard showed up with 60 points per 48 minutes. And among the top gross scorers, that was the best 48-minute stats. And Damian last night, huge shooting night, 37 points on 18 attempts. He also added 13 assists and a couple of steals, 4 turnovers for all those points. You'll take it. You'll take that ratio. Next on the list here, coming in at fourth from yesterday's games, Mark Jones's Carolina Copperheads, Evan Mobley. The center from the Cleveland Cavaliers comes in with 43 per 48 on 35 minutes. He scored 21 points on 11 attempts. He added 12 rebounds. Strong game there. Scotty Barnes, fifth on the list, 45 points per 48 minutes. He plays for the Houston Rockets in this league, the NBA Retro League, for William Slavy's team. Barnes, of course, with the Toronto Raptors. This is a great young player, and he's made a leap this season from being kind of, a good player last year, an okay prospect, but not really what he has become this year so far. Let's hope this guy stays healthy. Scotty Barnes. I'll take us back to the main screen. Sorry, I had Domantas up there forever. But Scotty, a guy who was drafted, give me a chance here. He's only in his second year, 4th overall pick, so it makes sense that he is producing at this level. I think he's definitely one of those lottery picks that's working out right now out of Florida State. But just really impressed with what he's been able to do this season. After last year he was okay, but he wasn't like this. 29 points on 19 attempts. He added 9 rebounds and 7 assists. Strong game by Scotty Barnes. Jacob Podol of the Toronto Raptors as well. San Antonio Spurs in this league. That's a team that is available. 52 per 48 minutes. He played in just 27 minutes last night, and his big strength was on the glass, 11 rebounds. He also added 4 steals and 2 blocks and 0 turnovers. Very strong game there. In the defense to turnover ratio, Mitchell Robinson of the Denver Nuggets in this league, that is a team that is run by A.J. Nardi, plays for the New York Knicks in real life. He is a center. Strong game, 45 points per 48 minutes. He played in 31 minutes, and he had, it looks like he wasn't a factor really scoring. He just was a strong rebounder with low turnovers. He had 3 steals. Just a good fundamental game by Mitchell Robinson. And that's the thing about the per minute stats. You don't need to score a lot of points to be effective, and that's real life basketball. I recall a guy named Dale Davis, not much of an offensive player, but he always played on great teams with the Indiana Pacers and the Portland Trailblazers for that matter. Dale Davis was an underrated player, great offensive rebounder, high field goal percentage, didn't waste shots, just went out there and took care of business, and anybody who played with that guy appreciated his value. Moving down the list here, we got Goga Bitadze, who was a free agent not too long ago and was picked up by yours truly. I run the San Diego Saints in this league, and I was looking for a center pretty badly because I only had 2. I have Clint Capella and Joel Embiid, but if one of those guys goes down with an injury, we're going to be in a pinch. And so I'm out there looking for a center, and per minute, this Badatse guy is excellent. And last night he showed that 50 points per 48 minutes. He played in 26 minutes. He is a low minute guy. I define the low minute player as the guy who plays 26 minutes or less. So he qualifies for that list. Huge game for Badatse. He had 11 rebounds, 2 assists, 2 steals, 1 block, no turnovers. Gotta love those numbers. And he had 50 fantasy points per 48 minutes. An unbelievable contributor on the 48-minute basis last night was Andre Drummond. And yet again, another case of where a guy can score a lot of gross fantasy points in very few minutes. Okay, check this out. 12 minutes played last night. He scored 9 points on 5 attempts, but he had 5 offensive rebounds, 9 defensive rebounds, 1 block, 1 steal, no, wait, 1 assist, 1 steal, no blocks, 2 turnovers. But the fact that he didn't take any shots hardly, and he was on the offensive glass, creating second shot opportunities for the offense. And in general, getting the boards, rebounding, very underrated category by a lot of people. I think they don't realize just how important it is to rebound. Imagine, you're watching your game, your team throws up, your team's playing defense, shot is thrown up, missed shot, and you don't get the rebound. You don't gather that defensive rebound. It just sucks the life out of your offense. It sucks the life out of the fans. It's horrible to see. Just horrible. And a crazy big game production wise as Drummond shot 5 attempts for 9 points, but the big ones being that he didn't play a lot of minutes and filled the box score in those low minutes. So in this league also, you are penalized for the minutes you play. I think you lose 0.2 of a point for every minute you're on the court. That means when your players are on the court in this league, they've got to produce. They can't just be lifeless bodies out there. And a guy that I had a bad experience with in this league this year was Quentin Grimes of the New York Knicks. Just lifeless body out there, just wasting court time, not doing anything. And I promptly dumped him after about 3 game periods. It's like, enough of this guy. I don't understand why he's even on the court if he's not going to do anything except for stand around there camped out on the 3-point line, I guess. I don't know. I mean, that could work in certain teams. If you have great players that can create open shots for those kind of players, yeah, maybe they can be a little bit valuable. But seriously, I'd take guys who fill the stat sheet with assists, rebounds, take a few shots, but not too many, get some steals, and don't turn the damn ball over. And Drummond definitely did all those things. He did have a couple of turnovers, but again, it was the low minutes that gave him value in this one. And you got to remember also, in the 48-minute stat game, he will be rewarded accordingly for his production. So you might say, oh, wow, he scored 27 fantasy points. Well, yeah, in our gross stat model that we're using right now, he's probably getting overvalued with those 27 points because we're using gross statistics. But if we're using per minute stats, next year, yeah, he scores 108 per 48 minutes, and he's got 27 gross fantasy points, but he's only going to take up 12 minutes of the basketball game. You're still going to need to fill up the rest of those minutes that lead up to 96 minutes. So you need 82 more minutes from your forwards, or center actually is where he's playing. So you would need 48 minus 12. So 36 more minutes need to be filled at center with Andre Drummond. You're not going to necessarily get 27 fantasy points. You're going to like the 48-minute switchover. It's going to be great. At any rate, that Andre Drummond plays for the Houston Rockets in this league. That's William Slavy's team. And Jeff Just's Julius Randle comes in 10th on the list from yesterday, 26 gross fantasy points, and he played 39 minutes. He had 24 attempts for 29 points, a lot of attempts there. I think his per minute average wasn't all that special, but he did add 10 rebounds, 8 assists. Pretty strong game nonetheless for Julius Randle, and he also plays for the New York Knicks. He plays forward. But as you can see, that 39 minutes he played would take up a big chunk of your forward minutes. All right, let's move along here to the top rookie performances, and I've got them on screen here. And I only highlighted the top 4 because that's all that was really mentionable last night for the most part. We got Derek Lively coming in first. Pretty good productive game, 48-minute wise, 52 points per 48. Lively, a member of the Sacramento Kings in this league. That is an available team for anybody who would like to join this league. There's an available team. They've got Lively. They've got Domantas Sabonis. They've got Ben Simmons on that team. They've got DeAndre Fox. I think that's a team that's dealing with injuries right now that's going to get a lot better. Anyways, they had Lively played 24 minutes roughly, shot 8 attempts, 17 points, 9 rebounds. Strong game, just one turnover, a couple blocks. Gotta like it. Uh, Bilal Koulibaly, I guess it is, rookie forward from Washington and plays for the Fort Wayne Pistons in this league. 27 points per 48 minutes. He played 28 minutes. He had 5 field goal attempts with 10 points, 8 rebounds. Solid game by the rookie from Washington, Duop Reith, who was a D-League player to start the year for the Portland Trail Blazers, and he's a member of the Poway Eagles in this league. He had a strong game last night, playing 20 minutes, shooting 10 attempts for 16 points. Not a lot of rebounds here, but no turnovers, very limited on the turnovers. Now, gross stats, he only had 10 points roughly, so. And you can see he played 20 minutes at 24 points per 48. Duop may not be the guy that you want out there as your number one ranked player. You might, but he would be good as far as depth at a position where it's hard to find players sometimes, center, and he might develop into something. Mind you, we're talking about rookies right now. And a big minute productive guy last night. He only played in 4 minutes roughly, but he had 108 points per 48 minutes, and that was Marquise Noel of the Toronto Raptors. He is a free agent. He played 4 minutes. He shot 1 attempt for 2 points, 2 rebounds, 2 assists, 1 steal, no turnovers. So very productive in very limited minutes. But there's a guy, you could have a player next year on your team and rank him high. And if he's doing something like Marcus Noel, he's putting up those kind of numbers, and he's only taking up 4 minutes, by all means, rank him first. Get the benefit of those high efficiency minutes. I'm going to go to the hot free agents now. And we'll look at the top guys from last night's games. And we have Derek Jones coming in first place. Derek Jones of the Dallas Mavericks with 18.3 fantasy points. Matisse Thybulle with 18 fantasy points. Malik Beasley, guard from Milwaukee, with 18 points. JaVale McGee, center from Sacramento, with 16. Tim Hardaway, a guard from the Dallas Mavs, with 15. Hardaway is one of those guys, you always want him to succeed. You get him on your team, you have high hopes, and he lets you down. Seth Curry of the Dallas Mavericks, also a guard, 13 fantasy points. Luke Cornett from Boston, a center, 13 points. Chris Boucher, forward from Toronto, with 13. Where are we at? That's number 8. So we'll go through a couple more here. We got Jonathan Isaac with 12.8 fantasy points. He plays for the Orlando Magic. And Dante Exum with 10 fantasy points, a guard from Dallas. Those are your top free agents in an 18-team league with 15-man rosters. We only have one injury to note today. We went through all the ones before from these dates previous, November 13, 14. Went through all these yesterday, I believe. The latest injury update comes from R.J. Barrett of the New York Knicks. It appears that Barrett is just sick. He's got some sort of an illness, and he's going to miss the game. He's got some migraine issues. I would say drink more water and maybe have a cup of coffee. I don't know. Those migraines are tough to deal with. I don't know anything about them, honestly. I've been around people that claim they're having a migraine, and I can't say that I've ever really had migraines. I think I get headaches like a lot of people do from maybe drinking too much beer the night before or something like that. So my sympathies go out to anybody with migraines. I actually don't understand them. I always suggest water and maybe a cup of coffee, but it seems to me that maybe migraines are related to high blood pressure, perhaps. I'm not sure. So probably a cup of coffee is not your best bet. At any rate, those are your injuries for today updated. Transactions go down tomorrow. So as you can see, we haven't had any transactions since the 13th. Remember, get your transactions in if you have any free agent requests. Get them in by noon tomorrow. That is noon Pacific time. I'm here in Southern California and I go by Pacific time. Noon gives you guys on the East Coast until 3 in the afternoon to make your moves. And here on the West Coast, I think, I get up pretty early and I think I'm kind of alone out here. There is William Slavey out here in the East or the West Coast with me, but a lot of the owners, I think, are back east. Now, on that note, I would like to mention that maybe next year we move to an earlier transaction time, simply because ranking lists will be due before the games start on the new game period. So we do our transactions on Mondays and Fridays, which is the beginning of the game periods. You'll want to know who you have as a free agent before you make your list. I would think people would want more than like an hour. You on the East Coast, if you're getting your free agent at 3 o'clock, you've only got like an hour to make some decisions. Put this guy onto your list. So might move up that transaction deadline to somewhere around maybe 10 in the morning, something like that. Gives you guys on the East Coast 3 hours to make your choices, your decisions. And if you're out here on the West Coast, you might, get your stuff done the night before. Get your free agents figured out the night before transaction day. If you're me, I get up early on a regular basis, so I have plenty of time to get up and think things over. But I know William's a young man, and sometimes those young guys like to stay out late, if not all night. So I get it. Do your transactions the night before, William. I think that's about all I've got today. Probably rambled a little longer than I wanted to, but I like to give you guys my insight and my thoughts on how I created this league and the reasons behind the things that I do, the scoring system. And, I'm going to give you a lot of that insight, just you guys tell me what you think in the comment box below. If you have a YouTube account, I welcome your comments. I'd like to hear what you guys think about this. But other than that, I will most likely see you guys tomorrow. If not, I'll leave a comment down in chat at the league site saying I might not be here because I might want to focus on football vids, but good chance I'll be doing the retro show. I enjoy talking basketball with you guys, so I'll talk to you tomorrow.